How are we doing? Ready to go? All right. The Board of Aldermen work session for November the 4th shall come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Wilson.
Present.
Neal.
Present. Here.
Sagasser. Ross.
Here.
Ballard.
Here.
Price.
Here.
Moores.
With 6 present and 2 absent, we have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll entertain a motion for the adoption of the agenda for our work session on the 4th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We've adopted the agenda for this, for tonight's meeting. Okay. I'm entertaining a motion for the adoption of Resolution 2025-27.
Is this the resolution that we talked about, natural gas? Yeah, did we get it
This is
updated?
for just a resolution. That doesn't require a reading, Mr. Mayor. We can just go straight to voting on that.
Certainly.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know if if you wanted any kind of discussion on it, or read the first and last paragraph of it, or we need to have a motion.
That's whatever it's at your discretion, Your Honor. Actually, whatever you want to do.
Okay, well, let's, does anyone want to discuss this at all, or it's just an idea that we're putting forward?
No, I think
Maybe,
Discussed it at the last meeting, so
Sure.
I think that's good.
Mr. Elford.
sir, Mayor, could maybe you just kind of go over what the resolution is about for the good of the audience? I know we have some people here that have an interest in this as
Okay.
well.
Well, of course, the absence of natural gas in this area has proven to be a major obstacle in economic development. And at the meetings that we've had at our economic development committees, that has been discussed many times. And the only thing that we really, what we really want to do here is just express the idea that in favor of searching for means of providing natural gas to this area. With all the obstacles, we're kind of in what we call a natural gas desert of sort. That many communities all around us have that, and have an advantage over us as far as economic development is concerned. And so we're with this board. The board then is asking the city to make every effort to explore whatever means that we can to help look into ways that natural gas lines can be run into our community. Is that fair enough, everyone?
Yes,
You did a great job.
Of course.
good, fine.
Mayor?
With that, we will. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Elford.
Sure. Just so everybody knows, we're going to be sending this resolution out to our state and federal representatives
Yes.
to ask for help.
Yes, and that's one of the items on the resolution, which I don't guess needs to be read in full. Is everyone comfortable with that? Moving ahead, then. All right.
I'd make a motion to
Counselor,
approve
do we do need a motion?
Yes, sir.
I'm entertaining a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-27.
So moved.
And second, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have adopted Resolution 2025-27. Mr. Lee, are you here to tell us about the SBU pedestrian?
Yes, and I'll first note you may have seen already that there's a math error in what was in the packet. The pricing boxes that break down the cost is the accurate box. The number at the bottom of the sheet that it says a total combined cost, that was a mathematical error. I'm not sure That was in a previous version, I think, and got copied over. So I apologize for that. The total, it's accurate in those price breakdown boxes, but I'll explain it here and just note what that total cost is there. So. Actually SBU reached out to us and requested a meeting to discuss improvement of the pedestrian crossing, both there at the athletic facility, actually basically on both the north and south ends of the athletic facility. And so we worked with them in various discussions and on a site visit, and then proposed what you see there in the packet, 2 improvements. One fairly minor improvement of a realignment of the sidewalks so that pedestrians aren't discharged into the driveway entrance there on the south end, or rather, I apologize, on the north end. And then on the south end, or the main stadium entrance, we're proposing an island in the street there for the purposes of general traffic calming in that area, as well as both locations will have our pedestrian signage crossing, similar to what we just recently installed over at the high school area, crossing to their track area. So we, in that case, and we repeated the consideration to SBU, they gave approval on their part, but to split that cost. And so the total costs there are reflected, like I said, in those 2 boxes, not at the bottom. So the bottom should read, or the city's portion and SBU's portion should each read $11,804. And that's, again, a sharing 50-50 cost of a flashing, pedestrian crossing, as well as the other improvements there. So I don't know if you have any questions for me specifically on that. Our intent timeline is, as weather would afford, we'd try to work around the college's winter break in order to have the least amount of impact, on their
Questions and comments?
campus.
Kyle, one more. Can you say the total price for the city contribution again?
Yes, it would be 11,804.
And I see that it's not budgeted.
Yeah, it was not a budgeted item. We would take it out of the streets budget. We have some, we're close enough to the end of the year to see that we have some ability to, some savings in some other areas, be able to absorb that. So we do have some, I say it's not budgeted. That extent and that specific project was not budgeted. We did have budget dollars for safety, signage, and things like that, which this would fall under as well. Yeah.
Sorry, Mayor.
Go ahead,
My
go
other
ahead, go ahead.
concern would be the island.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of safe vehicles in our town. I know we've had a lot of traffic studies with speeding and all the other traffic surveys we've done. In your opinion, and in our police chief's opinion, will that make things worse? I'm presuming that we'll have a lot of cars in the island instead of going around the island in my mindset. But
Well, I hope not. I think that we'll properly sign it. But it's like having a curb on a street versus not. The potential of someone hitting a curb or someone going, off the edge of the road, and there's always considerations. And so and you're now putting something centralized in the road. Of course, the intent is that it's an obstruction of which you would slow for. There's lots of good data out there that these types of obstructions work a little bit better than just a crosswalk. And since this one is such a high traffic, when they have an event, you have such a large amount of people trying. They're working with us, and we're really thankful for SBU working with us. They're allowing us to channelize down there. Right now, if you kind of see in that graphic, we've added curb and grass area there, at least curb area, to channelize that down to an actual crossing, as opposed to you basically have on the one side, you have an open, pavement area that's maybe 40 feet long, and so we're channelizing that down, and they were agreeable to that. And I think overall we're improving the safety, but I'm not going to say that no one's ever going to hit it.
Sure.
If they're paying attention and driving safely, they won't hit it.
I wish people did that a lot.
Yeah. It's
Go ahead.
Yeah, just to your comment, I think we've got a lot of roads here in Bolivar that the width of the road would, if you're not fully paying attention, the width of the road seems to communicate, go on through, blow right by
Yeah.
past, even if it's in the middle of a residential neighborhood. This is an issue we've had on Oakland for years,
Yeah.
And of course this is wider. This is wider than Oakland.
Yes,
the street.
certainly.
So,
Yeah.
and so I think, although it may be an adjustment for some people, I think, with some of the wide streets we have, some of these kinds of options are going to be one of the ways to communicate. This is not a highway.
Yep.
This
Right.
is still a road through a residential area.
Yep.
And I will also say that it's not just SBU that is using that facility. The high school uses it, and then we
Mhm.
have the various track meets that come through. There's major homeschool meets that
Yeah,
come
there's
through.
a lot of
There's
events.
a lot of, not
Mhm.
even just adults, you have a lot of kids who are crossing.
Yeah.
And so I think there's more in the community that make use of that facility than just
Mm-hmm.
people who are affiliated with SBU.
Certainly.
Others? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Was there any consideration about extra lighting at that crosswalk, the one there on the main stadium entrance? At night, it's not well lit if you got a lot of pedestrians trying to go back and forth in there. Would that be a consideration to maybe look into later on?
Yeah, I'd have to do a little assessment. We didn't discuss it. Again, this was initiated, primarily from the university on the crosswalk point. But as far as additional improvements, I know that, there is, even in the image, there are street lights nearby both, but I
It's
don't
close,
know.
but it's
I don't know if they're not putting out, the light output.
yeah, it's pretty dark when,
yeah.
after football games and stuff. It's
Gotcha. Yeah, I can mention it too. It could be as easy on that point as like changing the head on a lamp that's nearby there or
Yeah.
something like that. But it wasn't contemplated in this scope. So
Sure. I know it's not going to apply a lot of the time. Most of it's daytime usage, but
Mhm.
if we're making improvements, it wouldn't hurt, especially at
sure.
night.
Yeah, I'll pass that along as
Yep.
a point of question.
I'm being asked to ask the question. So at the end of the island, it looks like there's an entrance to, I don't know, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. Is that a one-way exit or entrance at the
Is it the
south
parking
side?
lot? Is that the music building parking lot, or is that one of the union entrances or exits that's like egress only? I was just wondering about the turning around the end of that.
Oh,
island.
so your graphic probably,
Make it
may
closer.
make it appear as though, we'll lay that out, and the back end of that will still have a turn radius. You'll be able to.
Sure.
We'll make it so that if the university intends people, which I believe they do out of that,
Sure.
to turn left and right out of that, we won't obstruct that. And I think you're actually probably seeing something more on this image
Sure.
that makes it reflect,
Possibly.
closer to that. There's quite a bit of green space there available
Sure.
that we won't take up all the way back to that entrance.
Awesome. Well,
Further
yeah,
comments?
and concern for our emergency vehicles trying to get in and out of there as well.
Yeah, it'll be, this is, like, for instance, this type of consideration, we talked, I think it was last meeting or another, about things we might do on Aldrich. It's not as as much of an option there because of a drive entrance, so those are things we consider on, on that planning piece.
Yeah, the other comment I was going to make, and you may have already made this, and I'm sorry if I missed it, but a 50/50 share is what we did at Tracker when we put in.
Yeah, and
Right.
with the
That's
high
right.
school, so the high school shared the cost of the actual crossing. We did the
Right.
concrete. It was pretty minimal there in
Right.
that case, but yeah.
I'm just thinking if we're looking at an example of another private entity
Mm.
that was making a lot of use of crossing Killingsworth there, that this is the 50/50 split. There's precedent
Yeah.
there for us doing that, not just with another government entity like the schools, but even with a private.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
private business.
absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point.
Questions, comments? I take it this does not require board action. This is mostly for information purposes. Is that correct?
I would expect we
Yeah,
would have
I would rather the
approval
board-
because
Would you rather
we're
have
gonna,
Yes, please.
yeah, we're
Okay,
gonna spend this money. It'll come back. We'll we'll actually purchase this device. But yeah, I think we would
I
want
agree.
approval at this phase here.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to accept the recommendation.
I mean, it sounds like the streets department has reserved that they have a little bit to play with, so I'll make a motion that we approve the $11,804 proposal.
A second?
Second?
That requires a voice vote, does it not? I mean, a roll call for census and expenditure?
It's your. It's
Okay.
your
Well,
discretion,
okay,
Mr.
we'll
Mayor, but
just
if you
have a
prefer
voice
it-
vote. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We have approved the expenditure of $11,804 for the crosswalk at SBU. And as usual, Mr. Lee, you're almost in the spotlight for item number 3, this street light at West Aldrich Road and South Faith Street.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. So this is one that has been in the works for a very long time. It was a point of request through our Planning and Zoning Commission. I think it was Alderman Sagasser who happens to not be here tonight to see it come to fruition, but he'll get to he'll get to see the street light if you approve it ultimately and it's installed. But in any case, we pursued first the option of installing a traditional, electric powered street light through the normal grid. Unfortunately, the initial cost estimate we received back from Liberty on that extension was about $18,000. That seemed extensive for the installation of a single street light. Part of it was because of extending the power, but I believe the power will be extended in that location in the future anyhow because it's a commercial lot. But unfortunately, that was the price given. So we began to explore some other options. And one of them, really the other option that exists out there is we could have looked at doing some of that installation ourselves or things like that really wasn't feasible. But in this case, we looked at street lighting by solar power. So there's a number of different products on the market. I will tell you, though, it is difficult in our area to get solid response. Just the reality is most of the folks that are doing this and the companies that are doing this one in particular is out of Texas, but a lot out of Florida, California, Texas. Hard to get a real confirmed number on that. So this is a source well. It doesn't require, specifically going out to bid. It's under our $10,000 mark. But I also just note all that to say we looked pretty hard for various options, and this is a good option. We did have a phone call meeting and some various research for it, but this company, Fon Roche, and it's a 25-foot tall solar street light. You see some of the details there. I appreciated their graphics. One that's helpful, I think, is seeing the area and the lumens that are produced on that intersection, as well as they give you basically a dark image projecting what the light output will be in that location. So at the cost of $7,788, of course, certainly better than $18,000, but not cheap. It's it's still a significant cost. But I had told the Planning and Zoning Commission they were in agreement that this was something that would be desirable, and I told them that I would bring this to the board's attention as soon as we had nailed down a viable option. This is a very viable option. We'll work with them on the installation. The city crews will actually pour the case on for the mount, but we'll work directly with them on that. So
I certainly trust your judgment, and you've been at this very diligently for a long time. I have to say that the thing that jumped out at me of the illustrations, there are 8 of them, and each one of them are in areas that have lots and lots of sun and hardly any, if any, snow. And so I don't know that's a
yeah. So let me speak to that actually, and it's a conversation I had with them as well. So what they do is they do like a photometric study of your location. And we actually, I'm interested in getting with them on the potential of even lighting along our trails, because they do studies even when there's tree cover. In this case, there's not any tree cover. And so what they do when they do that study, then they rate what kind of battery system and what kind of production you can have in the light. And so that's what's shown. The lumens and the overall production is what's shown in their, in their estimate. So
that's the numbers on the pages aren't numbered.
Yeah, I mean, within that document.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a little bit technical, but on the one page
I'd
that
say.
has the red oblong shape, you know, and then the black, that's giving you actually lumen production in that scope, in that range. And so I will say, I think this is an important test case to, you know, I mean, I'm not going to go too far out on the limb and guarantee anything. We don't have any light there now. This will produce light. Whether it produces light that we are ultimately satisfied that we'd like to take other steps in that, you know, I think it's a good test case. I think it's about as ideal a situation as we're going to find here. Really dark situation that needs some light and good, you know, good potential for sun. So I don't disagree with you. Although Missouri does pretty good on the sun, you know, levels, and
We're banking on
low
some
on
of it
the
ourselves.
low on the snowfall. So you know, we're doing
Yeah.
pretty good in that regard.
Okay. Further discussion?
I appreciate that it's got an 8-year warranty. I think that's a big deal on any solar apparatus we buy.
Yeah.
That warranty is.
Yeah, anything
selling point.
the longer the better on those types of warranties. But yeah.
Most of them are 3 to 5 years, so 8 is pretty aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes, sir. A couple things. You know, the question I'm going to ask is, where are we going to get the money for it?
Yeah, I mean, I noted there on the detail sheet that capital expense, we're take that out of streets capital dollars.
Okay.
So, yeah.
My second is kind of just a comment. I know this board is we're looking for other options for other things, and so it sounds like it's going to be $8,000 for solar power lights.
Well, yes, I think this is a reasonable cost understanding in this setting, and so in similar settings, I think you'd see the same. Depending on the situation, you know, if we had situations where we didn't have the pole cost, though I will say it does not sound like the pole is a large portion of this
Sure.
cost, even when I have more back and forth discussions with the company. But the pole cost, there's potential of like tying them in certain ways that you can maybe see some reduction if you buy a lot. You know, like I think 31 is their mark for seeing a reduction in cost. But I don't think you're not going to see that number probably cut in half.
Sure.
Or anything like that. So it's a reasonable, especially in this setting.
Sure.
It is the type of cost it's going to
what
be.
conversations we've had about
Sure.
possible
Yeah.
ideas.
Yep.
And so, you know, if we have just the estimated 500 light poles out there for, I mean, that's going to be 8,000 times however many lights we have.
It would be. This is a significant investment in one location. It would be a significant investment
Sure.
in multiples as well. Yeah.
Others? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I agree with what you said. I'm thrilled at the opportunity to do a test for
Mhm.
this technology to see how long the light stays lit, to see how light the intersections, how much it's illuminated, how it does during the winter months, all of that.
Yep.
I think we're not going to know until we try, and this will be a great opportunity to learn and get an idea for how viable solar is as an option for us to pursue in the future with regard to streetlights. And it looks like from this that what they have suggested would be for full coverage from dawn to dusk. Or from dusk
Yeah,
to
that's
dawn.
what it is right now, and there are different options that you can, play with even that in that
Yeah.
like pricing and in your model.
Sure.
Yeah, you can have like a 3 or
Right.
6 hour or something
But
like
in
that.
theory, this is a
It's intended.
light
Yep. Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
And does that change when the length of that?
Well, so they take that, the way they do that study is they take shortest day, longest night, and then try to size your battery and your production to produce on shortest day, longest night. So
You're getting more than what you need most of the year, so that you have enough.
that is the goal. Now, I will say, solar, even as you mentioned, like the warranty, I mean, you see degradation
Sure.
in production, as the time goes. But yes, I think, we're, even if we can get this set in winter, I mean, we're going to see some evidence, if at 5:30 a.m. there's nothing going, we're going to know. And we'll engage with them back and forth, obviously to try to make it good. So.
And as you've said, it's highly unlikely that the result would be that the intersection is darker.
That's-
So
I think we
that's
can-
not gonna necessarily be an improvement.
Hate to
But
guarantee things, but I think
would
we can
give us
guarantee
as much
that.
improvement
Yeah.
as we're hoping for, or just a moderate amount.
Yeah.
It would be a fantastic way to collect information. And thank you very much for your work on it.
Absolutely.
It will be
Yes, thank you.
really helpful information to have.
Yes.
Anyone else?
100% making
Okay, I will entertain a motion to accept the street light, going ahead with the project of the street light at West Aldrich and South Faith.
On behalf of my planning and zoning members, I will happily move
Thank you.
that we install a solar streetlight at the corner of Faith and Aldrich.
And second?
Second.
Voice vote, I take it. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. We have approved the project of the installation at West Aldrich and South Faith. I'm entertaining a motion for first reading of Bill number 2025-73.
First reading.
Second.
Counselor.
Thank you, sir. This is Bill number 2025-73, ordinance number 4095, an ordinance authorizing a contract with the Drury University for the city's transfer of a retired police vehicle in exchange for police academy student tuition.
Chief Johns, do you care to step forward and fill us in on this? I think we probably, if we read the packet, it tells pretty much. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the second phase of the previous request where we had allowed them to borrow the vehicle for some of their driving training. During that conversation that we had with the board on that night, we planted the seed of an idea. As older police vehicles are retired, we would typically send them off to auction, that sort of thing. And Drury University is also in need of vehicles for their training. And I believe we had the discussion last time I was here that currently 2/3 of our department officers come from the Drury Academy, so we feel like it's also a vested interest for our department to make sure that they've got the equipment they need to be, give the highest quality training possible. This is going to be, I would believe, very finance negative for the city, because in an auction, you never know exactly what you're going to get. We could get $2,000. We could get $4,000, maybe slightly more, $5,000, something like that. If we look at the other side of this exchange, it is for the tuition for one of the students in the academy. We currently have one of our civilian staff members who's going to be shifting over to patrol side. They're currently in the academy right now, the part-time academy. He will graduate in May. And to give a full picture, the current status of the Drury Academy, finance-wise, it costs $9,993 to send somebody to the academy. Right now, and our applicant falls into this, Missouri Blue Scholarship, which is from the governor's office, currently funds $6,000 of that. That was upped from $5,000. Last year it was $5,000. They upped it to $6,000. So that leaves the remaining cost that would be something that we would pay to Drury University for our applicant to go through, $3,993. So in effect, a retiring police car that we would send to auction instead of getting that money and then paying Drury $3,993. We're making the exchange.
Comments, questions? Is that is about as good an explanation as you can have?
Only comment is I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Great idea.
Second reading.
Yep.
Second.
All right. I
Thank you, everyone.
entertain a motion to accept. Let's see. No, a motion for the second reading of Bill number 2025-73.
Got you covered. Second reading.
Second.
Okay. Counselor.
Yes, sir. Bill number 2025-73, ordinance number 4095, and ordinance authorizing a contract with the Drury University for the city's transfer of a retired police vehicle in exchange for police academy student tuition.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Price,
Aye.
Ballard,
Aye.
Ross,
Aye.
Raines,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
By a vote of 6 ayes and 0 noes, we have approved Bill number 2025-73. Mr. Relford, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes, it is. Budget version 1. All right, so I beg your patience and understanding. As you know, version 1 probably has you asking a lot of questions, but that's what this is about. It takes time to get this right, at least 2 or 3 iterations of it. So this is our first go at it. So, but before I get started, I would like to share some good news. Not that a budget's not good news, but some good news. We found out this week that the Dunnigan Trail, to asphalt, has been approved. So that is official, and hopefully that project will begin in the near future. We have a Zoom with the granting authority later in November, and so we'll know more then. But we're really excited about that project.
I presume since we just sent it out to the world that we're free to put it on our bones postings now.
Yes, sir.
We were just kind of holding off on that.
Yep. So,
Thomas, would you mind telling us staff members who participated in that application, just so we can express appreciation for them, their hard work getting that?
sure. So first, it's Todd's idea. Todd Schrader, from our Director of Parks and Rec, came up with this, and community development, mainly Kyle and Kevin Kelly, were kind of the driving force behind drafting the application and getting across the finish line.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, well done to them.
Just to note, soon will probably be like spring.
Yes.
We'll be out of asphalt. Man, we'll be out of asphalt season here very quick.
Yeah, my bad. Okay, so
Congratulations. Great news.
yeah, that is good. Yeah, that would be a nice
Thank you,
addition
Mr.
to an
Lee.
already beautiful park. So, Alderman, before you, you'll have some talking points here. Version 1 talking points. It's kind of the similar thing I've done in the past, where kind of the big picture items. And you should also have in front of you kind of a detailed breakdown of the budgets overall. So we'll be referring back to that. But this year, we're at like a $15.3 million budget. And I think, this is probably one of the most difficult things that I do and the staff does, is to try to come up with a budget that's fair. And you will know, huge part of our budget consists of wages, our employees, right? That's any organization. Ours is no different. This year we've had some other things that have impacted us. We've talked about this in the past. As you will know, our insurance costs have gone up drastically. Workers' comp insurance. We've addressed that in the past, but obviously that's reflected in here. We've had some other insurance costs. For example, our health insurance. We just met with our broker yesterday. They came back with a 13% increase. So we've asked them to go back to Cox and see if we can get that down a little bit. I don't expect it's going to come down like by half, but maybe like 11 or 12% might be yes, sir.
Well, one of the things, the big driver, of course, or really we've talked about the multiple that we were faced with as far as our liability, our workers' comp, and has this year made some progress on that? We wasn't that going to have to be about a 3-year project of getting that down to a more acceptable multiple?
For sure. Yeah, this is
kind of
right. It doesn't. This problem doesn't fix itself overnight, right? The mod looks at a 3-year running basis, right? And so every year you add a year and 1 year falls off, and we had a couple bad years, and it's going to take time for those to fall off, and hopefully going forward we'll have good years, and that number is going to be coming down in the future. And we've worked to do that. We have a safety committee, and we're working with our employees. But yeah, I mean, that's the last thing we want to spend money on is insurance, but that's where we are. And
I didn't know if you had a sense that maybe we were making some progress on that. It wasn't a bad year like we had.
Yeah, I think we can say that. Yeah, I mean,
just wondering. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so as I mentioned, you'll have this, and then you also have this detailed budget, and we do the best job we can to put notes in here so you can kind of see the narrative, what we're trying to do under each category. But let's go over the talking points first. So estimated 2% increase in sales tax. We looked at what we've been doing this year, and looks like that's going to be pretty consistent. So we're going to stick to that. A 2% COLA. Social Security is saying 2.8%, so we're going to go a little bit lower than that since we got 3 last year, except for the fire department, police department, and street department, and we're going to do some slight modifications on those wages as well. So again, we've had some increases in wages. That's natural. We're trying to right-size some of our wages. We're trying to get away from some wage compression. So we've had to make some slight changes beyond just the COLA in some of those. In general, we're asking to convert, that's City Hall. We're talking about converting a part-time employee to full-time, and then adding 1 HR position to help Carol and her staff. And those are entry, yes.
Both so the HR.
Yeah,
is-
one is converting from part-time to full, and one's a totally new HR position.
What area is the part-time converting to full-time?
Up front, they'll be working for Paula. Okay, I think the board remembers you approved a PTO sellback policy. With your permission, we would like to institute that. That's 20 hours at 100% and 20 hours at 50%. That's really not a huge impact. I think it's like a total of $16,000 for the entire city. But I think it's a nice thing to do for some of our tenured employees who are, up against maxing out on their PTO. Continuation of the step increase program. Again, we want to incentivize people for staying with the city and give them a slight bump at certain intervals within their career, and we're gonna hopefully you're gonna continue that. Minimum wage for the state of Missouri is now 15, so we need to comply with that. So that includes lifeguards, our summer hires, our folks that work at the rec center. So that's increasing wages, right? That's going up like $1.50 an hour to meet that standard, and that's law.
Have you calculated how much that alone has cost the city?
I'm sure we could. I mean, I don't. No, we did. That's not one of the calculations we did.
Don't waste your time with it. I was just wondering.
But I mean, it's
businesses everywhere. Just
I mean, obviously it's in the thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have the numbers of people that we do, especially when we talk about folks helping us with the sports at the rec center and all this, it adds up.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I mentioned this substantial increases in workers' comp and property. It's a net increase of about 160,000 a year. A lot of money. Okay, so as you know, every year the city puts money aside for different programs. In the past, the city has given $50,000 to EDP, Economic Development Partnership. So that's something that I think I need the board's permission to move forward with. You want to adjust that, you want to increase it, you want to lower it. Again, these are things that we need to talk about, please.
So question I have is, do we want to talk about each of these as we go through them, or do we want you to go and then we talk about them? What's the most convenient way for you? Do we want...
You want to talk about the CDP one?
Which one? EDP.
EDP.
I mean, my preference is let's go through all of them and then come back and talk about and ask questions that we had. I just want to...
Okay. So I won't go into too much detail. The board approved $20,000 a year for homelessness special at COM, and then we have opioid funds earmarked for Polk County Health and CMH. That's pretty much like a pass through. We're sitting on that money, so
Right.
it's not a negative impact. $800,000 in grant reimbursements from previous years for our Liberator Avenue project. See that Liberator Avenue? We're using that now. Like
What was
that.
the 296 in interest from investment?
Oh, I missed that. Sorry. So to help fund this budget with board approval, if we need to do that, we need to siphon off the interest from 2026 from our investments. That's going to be $296,000. So we're going to have a good year next year from our investments, $16 million out there. So we would have to use that to fund the budget as is. Okay. $50,000 in transfers ins from reserves to park. So use money from cemetery to send over to parks because Obviously, our parks crew does a lot of work at the cemetery to help offset some of those costs. $150,000 franchise fee, we'd break that down to fund our Dunning Control matching funds grant, $50,000 for solar array, and $50,000 infused into general to help offset some cost. $120,000 in developers agreements. As a reminder, we have 2 developers that we reimburse them based on their projects and how much money we bring in sales tax based on their particular development. So we can't give them more every year than their businesses bring in sales tax, but per the agreement, we have to reimburse them based on their expenditures.
How much time do we have left on each of those agreements?
A lot.
Okay.
Forever.
A long time, a lot of money,
Okay.
yes. But again, it's maxed out by the sales tax that Freddy's, that Break Time, whatever, brings in every
Right.
year. Now, I will say this, I mean, the way it's written, I mean, it's based on the budget and the will of the alderman. So if you deem it not necessary, or we can't do the whole amount, then you can make that decision.
Although prior to the developers putting that stuff in, there was no sales tax being generated. So the fact that there's sales tax being generated in those locations
Fair
as
enough.
well is a direct result of the developers' investment.
Yeah, it's neutral. So I just want to bring that up. So obviously, we're excited about our solar array project at the rec center. So that's expected to be $70,000 to $80,000 in utility savings every year. That's nice. All right, sports, golf, rec, and pool. We need to further analyze those particular programs for potential fee increases, sustainability, and profit and loss. And Todd and his staff are working on that right now. I think we probably need to take a hard look at what we charge for our youth sports and adult sports, and which ones make sense, which ones lose a lot of money, which ones are viable, and as you'll see later, there's a reason for that. So the bottom line is the Public Safety Department, which is fire, police, emergency management, animal control, are about $2 million in the deficit. And that's, thank God we have the public safety tax. That's $2.2 million a year that are coming in. And we're obviously in a lot better shape than we would be if that never passed. But general needs to help them out for that $2 million. And then Parks and Rec faces approximately a $740,000 shortfall, which is offset partially by general, leaving a shortfall of roughly $300,000 that I need direction from the board where that money comes from to pay that, right? So that's money that, essentially we either take from indirect or we have to pull from investments, which we don't want to do. So these are some of the decisions we need to make. And so to sum it up, and I know you're begging to ask a question here. So potential topics include increasing revenues through annexation, maybe putting a use tax or a parks and rec sales tax on the ballot. I know taxes aren't always popular. Thinking about maybe in the future reinstituting the property tax. Cutting programs like not opening the pool, offering limited sports, etc. Things that we can do to save big chunks of money. Right? If you're $300,000 in the hole, increasing soccer by $15 a kid is not going to move the needle much. Right? You have to do substantial things to make that happen. So here, this is where we are. We're a lot better off than we have been in the past, but I'm open to questions. Obviously, Natalie's going to help me if you have any detailed questions about numbers. She can look them up real quick, but
I'll start.
Please.
All right, a couple things. First one, the EDP, the 50,000.
yes.
I personally think that contribution is
Inflated.
definitely more than we need to, especially with the budget issues that you have mentioned. So, if it was up to me, I would say something like maybe 5 or 10, but that's just thought to get us started. Question I have, the big one is,
So this on that what would the board like for me to put in that? I need actual real numbers for that.
I'm good with.
What else do we provide for the EDP? Is Becky's salary considered part of that? The
No.
office space?
Office space, and they do get some J-Mark support.
Okay.
But it's really
Pretty minimal.
very, very minimal.
My thought would be 5.
Yeah.
Do we know what the other, what is typical of the other contributors to the?
We were-
I'm stealing this question from Alderman Wilson.
We were definitely
Appreciate it.
we were definitely on the high end. I mean, we were by times
Right, I'm
5,
just
right?
wondering who's the next bump down from us? Is it us
Alderman,
and then
Mayor, do you
Vice
remember? I
President?
think there's a 10. I think several 10s, maybe.
Yeah, we're way out there.
SBU, maybe
What does the county do?
CMH. I think the county does 5 or 10.
Yeah.
I can bring that.
Why,
Is it
why
5
don't why
or
don't
is
we
it
do
10?
what the county does?
Yeah,
5 or 10, depending on what, you know, if the county does 5, let's do 5. If they
match
do
what
10,
the county's
let's-
doing. I'm good with that.
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
You're looking at
I
me
mean-
like,
No, I
Okay.
think that makes a lot of sense. I would say I have been an advocate for supporting EDC
Mm-hmm.
in the past. And part of why I'm willing to be flexible on this number now, not just because we're in the budget situation that we're in, but I have not felt in the past year or two that we have been presented with sufficient information to demonstrate that those dollars are worth the investment of the taxpayers' funds.
I agree.
So I would say if that changes at some point and the EDP is able to demonstrate to us that an investment from the city is being put to good use or that there are specific things that could be done, and just based on the information that we have available to us, I don't think we've had evidence of a return on investment to support our continued giving at that level. So I would say, agree.
Yeah.
Matching the county seems perfectly.
Yeah, I'd say look into that, see what the county does, and bring that back to us. So, on to my next thing, which is the Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
So, if we look at the budget, I'm on.
What page?
Let me see here. Oh, let me get to the end of this page. There's a lot of pages.
It's just 4 pages. And we had no time to.
It is. No, I'm at the 44. So the Parks and Rec budget for 2025 was 2.427 million. That's in the 2025 budget. Their year-to-date activity is 2.155 million. Now, granted, we still have 2 months worth of expenses to go, but they're currently
Okay.
right here, page 44. So, I mean, they're currently roughly 250,000 under budget. The budget for next year is actually cutting their budget by, I'm doing some quick math here, 35,000. And then you're saying that they're still going to be 739,000 is a deficit. So is there a deficit this year?
Yes, it is every year.
And we're making
they bring
we're
in.
making it up by.
So why don't you do this? Why don't you refer to? This is probably
Page 33.
no this detailed breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a better idea of how Parks
Sure.
is broken down by department, right? And our Parks and Rec department is more. So you have 5 different departments within that, right? So if you're looking at this one right here, right? So 520. That's like the parks. That's like the crews that mow and clean the bathrooms and do all the things at the park for the upkeep. So we've assigned them. We could spread it out, but we've assigned them the sales tax is included in that revenue, but their expenses are $551,000 a year. Now, if you look at the other ones, like the rec center we bring in $270,000, but it costs us $626,000.
But I mean, so the tax we get is for Parks and Rec, correct? It's not
It's
just
for everything.
Exactly.
It can be applied to any of those departments.
Yes, but on this you've applied it all to the park.
But at the end of the day, you still have a $305,000 deficit.
But I mean, I look at, and so we have a $305,000 deficit. Then you go to the other departments, and here's is it a $2 million deficit?
For which one?
For police and fire, for public safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have a $2 million deficit for a public safety that gets $3 million in sales tax. and we have a $305,000 deficit for a department that gets $800,000 in sales tax. I mean, the thing that common sense is we're always going to have to pull money for Parks and Rec out of the general fund, because $800,000 isn't going to fund a pool, a rec center, Dunnigan Park. You know, I mean, we could just as easily take 700 and what's the park and rec tax, $800,000, and spread that over the rec center, the pool, the golf, and the sports, and say, hey, all those are doing just fine. But now the parks has a deficit of $800,000, and so that's what I'm saying. Is no matter how we spread it, we're always going to have a deficit there.
Of course.
In my opinion, we have to offer things. If I were to ask, we have lots of SBU students in the crowd here, like, what does the city have as far as amenities go? They're probably going to say the park, maybe the rec center, the pool, the pickleball courts.
Yeah.
That about it? Which all are going to fall under the Parks and Rec. We're never going to make money off the pickleball courts, but that's something that we need to provide our people. We're never going to make money off Dunnigan Park, but that's something we need to provide for the community. We're never going to make money off of youth football and basketball and the aquatics, which actually, I mean, the aquatic center, for the revenues that we had thought we would bring in, we actually brought in more revenues. The aquatic center, you know, the golf course. The golf course
we had a good year across.
The golf course did almost $100,000 in greens fees this
Yeah.
year, and so it's one of those things that we're attaching, like, oh, hey, they're not making any money. We have a sales tax that brings in $700,000, and that's really the only way they're funded.
I agree.
I mean, we have other departments that get $3 million in sales tax that still have a $2 million, but we need them also. So
Yeah, it's a
the
tough
question I
decision.
have is, when we look at, this year was a balanced budget.
Right now?
For 2025, we had a budget that was balanced.
Yeah, but we had to pull in money from other funds.
Sure.
Indirect.
But we didn't have to pull in money from our investments. You know, those which we've said we wouldn't touch. And so we had a balanced budget with. Now the Parks and Rec budget is less next year than it was this year, and we're saying, hey, we're gonna have to cut $600,000. So I don't know how that works. Is our budget goes down by $35,000, and we say we've got to come up with another $650,000.
Who's saying we need to come up with $650,000?
We have to come up with 300,000.
I'm sorry, that's right.
300.
I'm sorry, I was going for the numbers.
Nat can look, see where we actually pulled the funds from last year to see how we augmented the.
There were some pretty big expenses that we covered this year at the Parks and Rec, including like the slide at the pool and that type of stuff, that hopefully we won't have some of those kinds of big expenditures.
A lot of those came out of insurance,
Oh, never mind. I take all that back.
and some of them came out of capital
Some of them came out of capital.
and insurance. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's expensive to run a pool, right? It's not a moneymaker. We're going to look at increasing the daily passes and the memberships, but that might be another $20,000-$30,000 a year, if that.
I think some of those increases, though, I mean, while they're not big increases, I mean, increasing some of the fees in the youth sports, because right now,
Absolutely.
I mean, they are very low, compared to other cities. And while that may not add a ton, it puts a chunk into the deficit. Increasing membership fees, while it won't be a ton, again, puts a chunk into the deficit. Same for the pool. I mean, all of these fees may not make a huge amount separately, but together it makes that deficit
For sure.
smaller.
And we're gonna do that. They're putting it together. I apologize, I don't have that for you now, but we'll get that for you before the next meeting.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I think to Dusty's point, I did not read this document as saying, all right, let's think about how we can cut parks, because obviously they're the problem. I took it as, this is already, we know we have a budget that doesn't have fat in it. We've been through this enough times. The easy cuts have been made. We've made those in years past. We've been through this process before. It's just a matter of, okay, it's all meat now. What meat can we cut? And it's probably not going to be emergency response and public
Nope.
safety. And so
We
I did
made
not
that
take it
promise.
I did not take that as, man, Parks is out there blowing all the money.
No.
It was just, all right, well, what can we maybe cut? Not because it's not valuable, not because they're not doing, you know, good return on investment for their dollars, but just because we're not going to cut, you know, we can't underpay our bills. We can't we're not going to stop doing streets. Like, there's a lot of the things are sort of non-negotiable necessities. And so this feels, I'm sort of projecting on you, so you can correct me if I have this wrong. The closest thing we have to discretionary spending, basically, is the amenities side of things. And I'm with you. I think it's really important that we invest in those things. But I just don't think that you need to feel like that this budget is saying, all right, parks, let's get it together. You guys are the source of the waste. I don't think that's the intention at all.
Thank you. You're totally 100% correct. Thank you.
You know, my take on it is, in 2025, we have a balance. The budget's funded. Parks and Rec, we have a 2026 budget that is less than the 2025 budget.
I could budget if I would have sent 300,000 from indirect to transferred in. It'd been budgeted.
Yeah, and so I guess that's my question is, if we have 300,000 sitting in indirect proceeds, which is, again, there is no question that Parks and Rec will never fund itself with a $800,000 sales tax. I mean, Dunnigan Park, I would say the best amenity we have, is never going to pay for the people that mow and upkeep Dunnigan Park. I mean, we have lots of pavilions we can rent, but I don't think people are renting pavilions to the tune of $500,000. I mean, if they are, that's great.
I agree.
So, you know, if we have the ability to fund it in the ways that we have funded it in the past, I don't know why we would stop doing that.
I think we would be remiss if we did not explore, at least look into further details of each sport, possibility of another revenue generator, like a property tax, or put the use tax back on, or another park sale. I know that's not popular, but I think we at least need to have the conversation. Annexation might be.
I mean, you know, the hard thing is we just passed a tax that brought in $2.2 million in revenue.
Okay.
And
I'm just bringing it up. You can.
And that's all I'm saying is, so our revenue increased by $2.2 million. Our sales tax numbers are up. And so now it's like, hey, we can't fund what we were funding this year when you didn't have the 2 point, we had the 2 point, before we had the 2.2. And so that's my question is, how do we have a balanced budget this year? We have departments, and going through this, a majority of our departments have a less budget in 2026 than they had in 2025.
Yeah. Well, the numbers don't lie.
And so, but I mean, it's one of those things that I look at that, maybe I'm just trying to wrap my head around how we have a department that's funded this year. We cut their budget for next year, and then we say, hey, we still need to find $300,000.
How much do we infuse from like indirect and other places last year?
Well, if you look at park compared to what we budgeted in 25 compared to 26, we only cut 31,000. We moved some of their expenses to capital.
Sure.
So
What page are you on?
I just subtracted 25's budget to this proposed budget on page 44. It's just a $31,000 cut.
Sure.
We moved some expenses to capital to bring that down. But today we went through and we cut general's budget, park, police budget, and fire budget so that we would have extra money to give to park this year. So we're giving $2,048,073 to public safety. We're planning on giving $739,840 to park. We need to use $305,000 from indirect.
We did for 2025, you're saying?
26.
So
No, I think the question is where did all the money come from in 25 to make the balanced
It came from general
budget?
and indirect.
Yeah, substantially more.
Yeah.
So in 2025, we transferred in $798,333 into Parks and Rec. That was a transfer $958,000. That's what we've done so far year to date.
Right.
2024 was $788,000. So we went from $958,000 budgeted to be transferred in 2025 to $100,000 in 2026.
100,000.
Okay.
I mean,
But that is not a that is not a cut in the budget of that much, because you can see that the budget's only different by 30 grand.
100%.
So
Because
it's obviously
there's
been in a way
added
that's
there's added
accounting for
revenue
different
in
ways
other
of
areas.
doing it.
Yeah.
If I,
Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. You keep going.
I was just, you mentioned this already, but I think it would be helpful to know if last year we were in a similar position,
We've been in a similar position for years.
right?
Mhm.
And if the gap was covered out of indirect, I would be interested to know what that gap was that came out of indirect, what the current balance is in indirect. Because as we know, indirect is not a recurring revenue source.
That's right.
It is a finite source, and these expenses are recurring expenses. So yes,
Yeah.
we can just do what we did last year, but that
It'll run out
opportunity is going to
100%.
dwindle. So I think that's part of the issue, is if what we did last year was use one-time funds to pay a recurring expense, then that may be part of
Do
the
you have
issue. So
that
it's an
number for
option,
indirect?
being listed on the sheet as a possibility, but I would be interested for point of comparison.
She has it.
Okay, great. That was-
She's looking
Very
it up.
good.
She's looking it up in her system.
A couple things, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse with the whole sports things, but I think we forget sometimes that with our sports program, we bring people from the county or Springfield, and they spend tax dollars in the city. So, if we have that mindset of, hey, we might have to evaluate which sport or whatever we're going to cut, we have to take into consideration that's tax dollars that we're probably going to lose as well. To Alderman Ross's point of, kind of where this money might be coming from, we have to think about, we had a fire department that wasn't full staff. We had a police department that was not full staff. And last year, I really remember us saying, hey, we've got all these positions opening. That's money that we're saving because we're not spending that money right now. Now it's a blessing in disguise. We have possibly a full-time police department. I think we're full, maybe one or two firefighters or fire department. The deputies.
Can you do the math?
And so I think we kind of forget that as well. Of we
Okay.
saved money by not having positions, but now we're blessed that we have wanting people to be in our employees. But in the
Okay.
same way,
So
That might be
1.7 million
possible.
we transferred in last year.
Say it again, please, sir.
1.7 million from like indirect and investments and not investment interest.
Okay.
So we
To-
haven't had.
So we're a lot. I mean,
That's
this.
four mil. So we haven't had a year with the public safety tax to know what a comparable transfer in is going to be, because that's the deficit we had
last year.
when we were exploring the option of the public safety tax. So we don't have a comparable year to say, based on last year, we transferred in blah, this is how many you need to transfer
Correct.
in this year. Okay, that's helpful, thank you.
No, I get your point. I mean,
Yeah.
I like sports just as much
Sure.
as the next guy, but I think we do owe the board some more details about each individual sport.
Yes, please.
I mean, we need to have. I know you may not want to have that conversation, but we need to have it, right? Because if a sport is losing a lot of money, we might want to think about other options. Can somebody else do youth football? I don't know. Maybe they can. If we're losing $75,000 a year off of it, maybe we can find an organization to take that over. I know Todd is cursing me right now, but these. I mean, this is a problem. We
Just
have.
ask the question.
Yeah, no,
But I
I
mean-
would like to
And
see,
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I would like to see number of athletes for each sport, how much we charge for each sport. So how much are we making per sport based on each athlete?
Sure.
So we can get a general idea and see what we can do to increase those numbers. Because like I said, I think if we just chip away at things, I think we can really get this deficit down. I don't
Yeah.
think cutting
And-
necessarily has to be the option. And
Right.
I mean, let's be honest here. The government is shut down. People are hurting. I hate the idea of saying we're going to cut programs or cut anything, because this is stuff that they rely on.
Sure. And I think to your point, you can maybe it wasn't to your point, but you can only go up so much, right? And then
Right.
you're losing people, right? I
Right,
mean,
for
we're
sure.
trying to make it so people can enjoy what we have to offer.
Right.
But if you go up too much, you're going to lose some people that just can't afford an extra $20-$30
Right.
for a sport, and you're back to where you started. So we're trying to be mindful of that, but we still need to bring in more revenue.
I think to Ashley's point, I'm not interrupting you.
No, the only other thing I say is maybe we need a committee to help get a few voices in to help give some ideas and
Yeah, we're
brainstorm.
And get some people from the public. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
yeah.
Let's get some feedback and fresh ideas. What can we do?
Yeah,
And to
because
piggyback off sorry
okay.
to interrupt you. To pick it off Alderman Rain's comments, I mean, I believe last time Todd brought in reports about sports, I think there was an uptick in, I think, every sport, you know, and I think it was pretty of a substantial uptick. I mean, even coaching, like, I think we had to turn away kids because we had too many teams. So I agree. I think if we can get hey, there's how many people signed up, here's how much it cost, get a committee going and kind of say, hey, here's where we're at, here's the pros and cons of, but in the same way, like, okay, basketball, maybe we would, you know, we have to figure something out about basketball. Then we're gonna tell all these kids, sorry about you, we can't have these sports. Go play soccer. Well, my kid doesn't play soccer, you know. So
Another question I have
Mhm.
is, you put in a 2% for the sales, and I just haven't looked. Is that 2% also for the public safety tax? The 2% increase?
it's across the board. Yes. Yeah.
And you said that matches what we're seeing this year.
Correct. That's probably a little conservative, to be honest with you.
It's
The
probably-
public safety tax
because
is doing really well.
What we're gonna make in sales tax this year is almost what you have to make projected for next year.
Yeah.
If our numbers come in like they did
I
last
try not
year.
to get crazy with that, just to be realistic.
Yeah,
I'm trying
I'd,
to-
I'd much rather be
Conservative?
on that number instead of being like, oh shoot, we had planned for this. But if we go to cutting things, I would hate to be like, oh, we're being super conservative on this number, even though we think it's going to be more. So as a casualty of that, we're going to cut this or cut back on that.
well,
So
if you
forth.
want me to go 3%, if you tell me to do that, I
mean,
can.
it's, what, an extra 34,000?
It's not. Yeah, 1% is not a huge
37,000.
amount, but
I mean,
Yeah.
it adds up.
Well,
After,
100%.
Like Tasha's
Yeah.
point, like a,
Every
you know,
chunk matters.
20
Yeah.
grand from, you know, a few different places across
Mhm.
the budget adds up quickly.
okay, we can do 3% if that's what the board's requesting.
Now, another question I have.
Is that a 3% increase
sales tax.
projection? Is that what you're saying?
The revenue projection.
They've got a 2% increase now, bump it to 3%, which would also bump the public safety. So another question I have, gosh, I'm going to be like the one who's bringing up all the bad things.
It's not bad.
Chief John's, Kalia,
Kalia.
how
Married.
married to
We're
that
almost at the finish line.
are we? Yeah, but that's
Yeah, he
a
knows details, but-
$14,000
It's
a
rather
year
expensive.
finish line.
hi again.
So, hello again. So, CALIA accreditation for the folks listening at home, it is a nationally and actually internationally recognized accreditation for law enforcement. It is a way for a department to demonstrate best practices in all the things that we do. The history of CALIA here at this department was somewhere in the area of about 13, 14 years ago. Bolivar PD was accredited. I don't have the full history of why it went away. May have been changes in leadership, things happened, and they lost the accreditation. And then at some point, within maybe the last 8 to 10 years, they attempted the processes of going back to it and getting accreditation again. There is a state version of accreditation that is not nearly as robust and respected. And they attempted to work towards that. They decided that that was not good enough for what they wanted to achieve. And then they went back to the international version, the CALIA version. And it really is the gold standard of accreditation for police departments. They started that process at this department probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. And they began the actual process, which is about a 3-year cycle of working towards it. They started that just about 3 to 3.5 years ago. Whenever I was going through the hiring process here, it was brought to me by both the board and others that that was one of the goals of the police department, and got hired June 1, and we put tons of effort towards that goal. And I'm happy to report, if that's a goal that we still want to do, very happy to report that we are about to cross the finish line. We have got to the point, I may use terminology that's not exactly right, but we've done our part, and then we've sent the notification to the CALIA group saying that we are ready for the assessments. That begins with us doing a mock assessment, and we're actually going to be completing an internal mock assessment ourselves, and then a couple of other representatives are going to be doing mock assessments of us this fall over the course of the next about month and a half. And then some of that will also be online, where we give access to some of the professionals to come in and look through all of our records, make sure that we're compliant. They'll give us the feedback, anything we need to clean up, anything we need to fix. Then we will have site assessment somewhere in the neighborhood. It hasn't been scheduled yet exactly which dates it'll be, but it'll be in the first quarter next year. And then that should be the day that we'll get full accreditation. So we are right at the finish line.
Mr. Wilson.
With the completion of this accreditation, is this a recurring 13 or 14,000 a year, or however much it is a year, or is it, hey, this is a one time to get the accreditation, you have so many years, and then renew? And
I don't have the number exactly to give it to you right now. I can certainly look it up and bring that back to the board soon. I don't know if the initial cost is the same recurring cost over a year once you get to that level of accreditation. I know the work to put in to maintaining it is going to be less than the amount of effort to build up to it. But then just the financial upkeep cost of going through it, I would have to think it's not going to be, certainly not going to be more. It would only be less or equal to. Because I think maybe an initial assessment might have some additional costs, is why I think it could be less on just the maintenance part of it. It's possible, but I can get those numbers to you.
do you feel as the police chief that it is beneficial for us to have this certification?
I think that accreditation is very helpful. Does it take a lot of effort to maintain it? Absolutely. But having the resources to assist us with the best practices of our standards and our procedures, I think is incredibly helpful. I, of course, come from Springfield PD. We were accredited my entire career, and I was a part of that accreditation process, not in charge of it, but from the different roles that I played, being in the training staff, being in some of the other specialized units. In those settings, I was constantly sending proofs, of we're meeting these standards in these ways, and so I was a part of that process. And it was something that I believe it was very beneficial, maintaining those high standards in everything that we do. And it gives us access to other agencies and what their practices are. This is how we maintain this high level of performance, and we make those relationships, and then we can, when we have questions, how can we do this better? We've got a collection of agencies all over the world that can help us with those things. I think there are a lot of benefits.
Hey, just on a side note, don't mean to interrupt you. You just got a text for anybody curious. The ballot issue that we had with Southwest passed 94% to 5%. So,
Fantastic. Thank
yeah.
you.
So it was a nail biter.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt you. So yeah.
Also, and I don't know if this is topical. I am working on presentations for the different growth of the department over the next year to two, and some of the adjustments that I'm wanting to make. One of the adjustments in the CALIA world is actually taking the person who is our accreditation manager right now. We've got a police officer corporal commissioned role in that area of responsibility. Many police departments do it that way. One of the adjustments that I'm wanting to make, and I'll be presenting that to the board at some time in the near future, is to change that to a civilian position. That'll take the actual cost of staffing for that particular position, and it will reduce it. And that'll, if we can at some point in the future approve that additional civilian staff position, that'll also relieve one of my commission positions to put them out into either investigations or patrol.
Great.
That's just one of the things that I'm going to, again, look to doing.
Two more questions, just one for you.
Yes, sir.
In the information you're going to get, can you look to see how many departments our size are CALIA accredited?
I can look
just
that up.
like around here, if
Yes,
there's
sir.
any others. That's all I had for you. Then I just had one more for Natalie, but if anybody else has any.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate
Just to
you.
confirm, I just checked with Mr. Sainer back here, it's 10,000 that the county donates to EDP. Yes.
And this may be getting into the minutia too much, is part of the budget for parks next year having the pond dredged?
No.
Do you know to Dusty's point about Dunnigan Park being a tremendous asset to our community, do we have eyes on the health of that pond and making sure that we are stewarding well that resource? Because a huge part of Dunnigan Park is that pond. I don't know, I'm not a pondologist, but I just,
I'm sure we could work with the conservation department or the state DNR to maybe kind of informally take a look at it and see what they think. And you, Todd, I mean, you haven't heard anything to the contrary, have you?
Took all Todd's money, he's not
We need to get some quotes on, we need a clean dredge.
yeah, how do you evaluate the health of a pond? What do we need to do? Because I would hate for us to be,
There's a lot of geese out there.
yes.
Are the otters still around?
No.
Good.
No.
Is that, I got one more so Natalie, quick question. On here, like the utilities, they are all over the place. Like for example, in 2025, we budgeted $37,000 for the Parks and Rec department, and year to date we're at $47,000. And then there's other places where we budgeted like 15 and we're like 8,000. Any idea why they're so far over the place, all over?
That's a trick question, right?
No, we were trying to do some good estimate numbers for this, and it was difficult based on the billing for this year. I can say that.
So the numbers are all over the place because we
Yeah.
didn't get a bill.
I think Kipper's spreadsheet is from here to the mayor, trying to track, and then the back billing, the forward billing, and the credit. So
Yeah, it's a difficult task to
So it's
predict
yet
our
another
utilities.
filling right there.
yes, still.
All right, that's all I had.
The 296,000 interest from investments you've got on our main sheet, is that already counted in to offset, or is that an option
No.
to count?
No,
That's
we're-
offset.
That's counted.
No,
It's
it's
in-
not in there yet.
Yeah, we put it in the 296.
Oh,
Transfers.
but it's not transferred in yet. Unless you say it's okay, then we will.
Yeah.
So we
'Cause
have an
that's
option to use.
2026 money, right? So
Right.
those
Yeah.
are CDs and T-bills, et cetera, coming due in 26.
Right. So that's the interest that's going to be coming off of the investments that we've got in the bank.
Correct.
Do you have some of that investment money already factored into the budget in other places, or is there a line item that says we made $460,000 from interest, and you plugged it in where it needed to go? Does that all go into general?
Yeah, it would just go into general, and then from general, we would use that to help
to
the
go
other
out.
departments.
Mhm.
And is there a number somewhere that what we've made off of that this year?
Sure. I don't know what that is in my head, but yeah.
So we haven't used the money that we've made in interest this year
Have
into the budget?
It's in there, yes, because we were still paying for outfitting the fire truck, and we had to pay for the fire truck this year.
Okay.
And then those payments will start in January 26, so that will start coming back in.
So that's the
But-
loan we made to the fire department.
So
But there were some investments that came due, and we reinvested the principal
We
and the
didn't-
interest
yeah.
from this year.
Okay, that was my question. How much?
We did.
How much of that are we reinvesting, and how much of that are we pulling out
this
interest-wise
year?
to put into the budget and make things match?
For this year,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to get you that number
Okay.
So
because we didn't calculate that into the
So,
budget.
so just to check,
Okay.
the interest is a revolving
Income.
revenue stream. The indirect is not a revolving revenue stream. We have roughly $300,000 in potential interest for 2026. Is that the number that?
296,000.
So roughly 300.
Correct.
$4,000 short. We have roughly a $300,000 shortfall. I think it's 306 according to,
Yeah.
if that's right.
Rounding up.
That we need to find from other places.
Can we find that in the interest of the 294,000 worth of interest?
or is that already in the?
That's already in the budget.
Okay, well,
The
that's what I was-
296. We had a $635,000
So we've
shortfall.
already used that in the
We
budget.
already
Okay.
made the suggestion to the
We're
board.
like,
to-
awesome, we're done.
Found it.
No, I wish it was that easy. I wish it was that easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to
And
get at.
keep in mind that
We were close.
if my memory serves, the investments that are coming due, we had some really good interest rates that we got from a couple years ago. So as you look down the line, the rates, as you know, fluctuate. Some of the rates have gotten lower.
Yeah.
So maybe in 27 it may not be that much.
Do
It's not going to be consistently $300,000 a year, just so you know that.
Sure, sure. Do we have a policy, or maybe it's internal thing, of which ones we do reinvest and which ones fold into the budget? Or does
No,
that just kind of?
no, it's based on the needs of the budget.
Okay.
Is, to piggyback on that,
Yeah.
is the 296, is that planning to scrape off all of the interest for 2020?
Yes, that's every dime
Okay,
that's
so
being
there wasn't
made.
like anything that was being left on the table that, and there's no more interest to be
No.
wrung out of those?
Well,
particular-
the only other interest that I think we've talked about this, the sweeps that go out every night, right? We have a big checking account. That money goes out, and it comes back with interest every day, right? And that's depending on how much money is in the account, because all of the money out from all departments is grouped into essentially one checking account, and that goes out, and we get interest rates on that from Commerce, and that's anywhere, depending on how much money we have in there, $600 to like $400 a night.
And the interest rate that is applied to that is the number that the Federal Reserve has the power to affect. And when they're
believe
talking
so.
about when they talk about the Fed upping the interest rate or lowering the interest rate, that's the interest rate. And so that number will obviously have a lot to do with, and the fluctuations in that number have a lot to do with the performance of the. So when you watch that, you wonder why it's better one time and better than the other. Watch the Federal Reserve.
And we write a big check for something, you can see that there's definitely you get lower amount because you don't have as much money going out there every night. So.
Go ahead.
Alderman Bolivar, were you done with your questions? I'm sorry.
Yes, no, I think so. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I've got a quick question about, so we've been blessed with a lot of grants that we've been approved with. I feel like some of those have been like a 50-50 match or a 20% match or something. Can we get a total of how much that we've spent for those grants?
Like our portion?
Like our portion, yes. Thank you.
What time period?
I mean, we could just do the year would be great. Just to, I don't want to curse us or have anything saying that we probably should pay attention to that. But
Do you want us? We'll project out a couple of years too, because this
Yeah.
Albany project. some
yeah, I
other
mean, we
things.
do. We have a lot of projects that we're being blessed with, but at the same time, if we are $300,000 short,
Kyle said he'd be happy to do that for you.
Yeah, sorry, Kyle. But it's just one of those things that we do a lot of grants. Hey, we
Sure.
got this, and it's free money.
Yeah, I
Why
mean
wouldn't we? But at the
it
same
costs money,
aspect-
but it's
To
well worth it.
Point of clarification, question to clarify. When you say spent, do you mean we committed?
Yes.
Not just that the dollars actually had to leave the account. So anything where we said we promised $100,000 on $1 million worth of whatever, even if
Sure.
we have not had to write any checks yet, you would
Yeah.
like that to know how much we have committed
Sure.
on grants.
For example, the Dunning Trail is going to cost us $51,000.
Right.
Yep.
So money hasn't been spent yet, but
But
for our
It's a
purposes.
$250,000 project.
Yeah.
It's good.
That's great.
I have another question.
Okay,
Go
last
ahead,
one.
The sweeps that you just mentioned, do they feature anywhere in the budget?
Yeah, they're in here
They are. So
by department. So we distribute it by how much each department has within that checking account.
Their fund.
how do you project that? Do you go by just the average, saying it's been 4 to 6, so we'll call it 5, and then multiply it?
No,
and then
we
break
do
it,
a
or-
pool cash report at the end of the month after we close out, and we back it into what percentage of their cash account, they get a percentage of that interest.
Right, but if you're projecting for 2026,
Mm-hmm.
how
Yeah,
do
we
you-
kind of just based it on with this year's or last
you-
year's
you
how
look at
much.
month by month?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
Hopefully
so-
interest rates won't drop that bad next
Sure.
year.
Where are we, sir?
Well, it's good questions. Thank you for your input. Like I said, this is work in progress, and we'll go back to the drawing board. And
You got any fundraisers planned? Like
Yeah.
brownies, cupcakes, cookies?
Looks like
I think it's going to take more than that. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. I'm entertaining a motion for the first reading of bill number 2025-74.
First reading?
Second.
Counselor?
This is bill number 2025-74, ordinance number 4096, an ordinance authorizing a services agreement with Delta Roofing Incorporated for the roof repairs on Phillips Hangar Building located at the Bolivar Municipal Airport.
Comments and questions? Do we need to worry about that, or you want to have someone explain that, or if you want to go ahead and approve that?
I'd go for a second reading.
I'd
Okay.
second that.
All right, I'm entertaining a motion for the second reading of bill number 2025-74.
Second reading.
Second.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, second. Yeah.
Okay. Counselor?
This is bill number 2025-74, ordinance number 4096, an ordinance authorizing a services agreement with Delta Roofing Incorporated for the roof repairs on the Phillips Hangar Building located at the Bolivar Municipal Airport.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Wilson.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Raines.
Aye.
Russ.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Price.
Aye.
By a vote of 6 ayes and 0 noes, we have approved bill number 2025-74. Alderman comments. We've had a lot. Do we need some more?
I've just got one. I had somebody reach out to me this week and just kind of wanted to publicly thank the school districts that helped out when our FFA bus crashed in Laclede County. There's a couple school districts over there that really stepped up and picked up our students and took them to the school and provided food for them and all that. So just kind of a thank you to those school districts. So
For sure.
Someone else? Okay.
I have a
Go ahead, please.
I have a comment that's secretly a motion that I forgot to make last time, so
Okay.
Don said I could.
All right.
My motion is, I believe we've already communicated the outcome of our last, of our response to Liberty's offer of an extension on the streetlights. But my motion is that our council send letters each month reiterating our request for information
Yes.
to Liberty, and that we continue to send them monthly letters until that information is received.
I will second that.
love it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. I presume that it can be a voice vote.
Yes.
Yes,
All in
yes,
favor,
Your Honor.
beg your pardon?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that, is that clear what needs to be done? Are you clear on that,
Can you give me more
Counselor?
directions, Don? Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We have approved the motion to send inquiries for the inquiries that we've inquired about the inquiries. All right, I'm entertaining a motion to go into closed session.
With a short bathroom break, please.
And a 5-minute break, yes.
All right, yes, I will make a motion that we take a 5-minute break and then go into closed session pursuant to RSMO 610.021 subparagraph 1, legal actions, cause of action, or litigation involving a public governmental body and may be confidential or privileged communications between a public governmental body or its representatives and its jurisdictions.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Wilson.
Aye.
Price.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Raines.
Aye.
Russ.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Price.
By a vote of 6 ayes and 0 noes, we are in closed session.
Sorry.
Wow, break.